tu tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om tare tu re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Good day to you and welcome everyone to Lama Life livestream event, tuning in both in this live moment and those who will join us later through the recording. Hello, hello. I'm Dreame and I'm grateful to be your host for this gathering. At Tara Mandala, we're committed to being a welcoming, open, and safe community for practitioners and students of all cultures, races, religions, genders, sexual orientations, age, ability, and circumstances. We've got something special lined up, the teachings of our guest teacher, Dorje Lopön Chandra Easton. Lopön La is a Dharma teacher, author, and translator of Tibetan Buddhist texts. She has taught Buddhism and Hatha Yoga since 2001. Lopön Chandra is the lead senior teacher under Lama Tsultrim Allione and serves on Tara Mandala's Prajna Council, Executive Committee, and Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Council. In December, we celebrated the release of Lopön Chandra's remarkable book, Embodying Tara, on the 21 Taras, published by Shambhala. And there is more. We're joined by the wonderful Lopön Karla Jackson-Brewer, known to many of you from her teachings on Chogyal Namkhai Norbuche, Dakini Mandala, and Feeding Your Demons, among other wonderful practices that she teaches, or perhaps from the monthly BIPOC meditation practice Lopön leads for Tara Mandala. Together, these Tara Mandala teachers are here to share their insights and guide us in meditation, and we're so fortunate to have them. May it be a time of wisdom and connection for us all, benefiting all beings. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dreame. So good to be with you all today. Wherever you are, welcome. Let's take a moment to drop in and, in a sense, kind of create a buffer between the outer world, our focus, our external sensory stimuli, and the inner world of contemplation and meditation by closing our eyes and taking some deep breaths so that we can really feel that we're here now with our breath in our body. Feel your breath in your belly and filling your lungs. And let's release tension with the out-breath, anything that is holding us hostage or holding us as this feeling of in separation from our inner intuition, our knowing. Let's drop in, releasing tension with the out-breath. Maybe there's tension in the face or the jaw. This feeling of instantly letting tension melt away. And when we turn inward to this inner life, we can feel and connect with that spring of warmth, that bubbling brook within us, maybe in our navel or in our heart. Resources that we always have within us. We can simply water those resources with each breath and with our attention. And feel the warmth and the luminosity begin to grow, that feeling of presence. It's always there with us. We just don't always notice it. And then it's from that place and that feeling of connection with our inner life that we can bring forth a heartfelt motivation for our time together, what's called bodhicitta, this spirit or heart of awakening for the benefit of ourself and others. It's called the twofold benefit. We practice for our own healing and awakening, and we practice for the healing and awakening of all beings everywhere. And that's why we come together for these Lama lives and in our practice alone and in community. And from within this kind of dome space of the healing domain of bodhicitta, we can also take a moment to acknowledge the land upon which we sit or lie or stand, live, eat, sleep, breathe, laugh and cry. Where are you? And acknowledging, perhaps if there's indigenous land that you're on, then acknowledging that, remembering what has come before to your ability, acknowledging that, and what continues to happen, witnessing that, presencing that, not forgetting that. For me, I'm on Lisjan Ohlone land here in Northern California, the San Francisco Bay Area. Perhaps you can speak aloud where you are, anywhere in the world. And give thanks to the earth, the wind, the air, the fire, the space, all the elements that support us in this world and our life. The elemental spirits that are associated with those elements, the Dharma protectors, protect the Dharma and those who practice the Dharma. And in this case, we can even feel the Dharma as any path or practice that brings us to truth, not just Buddha Dharma. Thanking the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, our ancestors, all of those wisdom beings who in this present moment exist in past, present, and future with us. Our teachers, our mentors, our spirit guides, our allies. Giving thanks and gratitude. And we enter the doorway of practice with, in a sense, a humble heart filled with gratitude and joy. And we have the freedom to practice loving kindness, compassion, wisdom. How wonderful. Thank you. We can come together now, if you wish, opening your eyes. So good to be here with you. I hope that you're well. And it's a joy to be here on this wonderful space, Lama Live. And I give thanks to Lama Tsultrim for opening this mandala for all of us to drop in together every Sunday morning or wherever you are at any time of the week after that. And it's an honor to be here with you all. So today I will, in a sense, I've been asked to talk about the first of the 21 Taras. She really opens the doorway for the 21 Tara pantheon, and she's a powerful one. Her name is Nyurma Pamo, or Drolma Nyurma Pamo, which means Tara, the swift goddess. The Sanskrit is Tara Tura Vira, which also means Tara, the swift goddess. The Tara literally means the savioress, so she who saves beings from drowning in the ocean of samsara, or also she who ferries beings across the ocean of samsara in her vehicle, which is a boat. You know, many deities in the tantric pantheon, both in Hinduism and Buddhism, they all have a vehicle, like the Hindu and sometimes the Buddhist expression of the goddess Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom and arts and creativity and eloquence. Her vehicle is often the swan, the white swan, for example. So Tara's vehicle is a boat. So the image of her is often depicted as faring beings across the night sky, as an analogy for faring beings from samsara across the ocean of samsara into nirvana, tathagata, which means the thus gone. You've transcended to the other shore, which is another epithet for the Buddha. So, so many interesting ways we can understand her energy, because as an archetype, of course, there are implications there of that the archetype of the one who helps us, right? We're not alone. She's there in the moments of need if we call to her and pray to her. And yet, she's also the nature of our own mind on the most deeper essence level. Tara is none other than our Buddha nature. And we experience that in deep contemplation, deep prayer. We come to realize that the nature of Tara is none other than the nature of our own essence, our wisdom, our bodhicitta, compassionate wisdom heart. So many wonderful aspects to her. And I talk a lot about different ways we can understand Tara in my new book, which is Embodying Tara. It's right here. Embodying Tara came out in December 12th. 21 manifestations to awaken your innate wisdom. And in the introduction, which is about 30 pages, I lay out who is Tara, what is her history, what are her origin myths, and then talk about these deeper layers of how we can understand her and embody her. Because as the title implies, this book is all about embodiment. And also, I talk about her iconography, meaning her symbolism, what it means, how we can apply her meaning to our life and see her in ourselves, cultivate various qualities of the 21 Taras within our body, within our mind, within our heart, in our lives. But also, I talk about real life women or movements that embody her enlightened activity, right? So each Tara has one or two examples of real life examples, or women mostly, or women identified, also movements founded by women that embody, that bring forth the enlightened activities of these 21 Taras. So we'll talk about the first Tara in that light. So through those and through meditations that are offered at the end of each book that are meant to be direct access deity yoga, which is a way of saying we unify our mind with the Buddha Tara through deity yoga. Yoga means to unify or to yoke. Deity in this sense isn't God, creator God, but in Buddhism and Tibetan Vajrayana, Tantric Buddhism, deities are referred to as Yidam or Ishta Devata, these enlightened beings that we pray to, that then we get to also experience what it would feel like to embody their energy and become them, recite their mantra, and feel that we are also helping to channel and enact their enlightened activities. So at the end of every chapter, you have an opportunity to do that. And I'll guide you through a condensed version of that towards the end of our time together. So today's a little different. Often we meditate at the beginning and then discuss at the end, but we're going to flip it. We're going to have some discussion, and in a moment I'll invite my dear friend Lopön Karla on to help to talk about the first Tara with me and to talk about ways as we approach the Black History Month in February here in the United States, how we can see Dharma as justice practice, because Dharma literally does mean justice also. It means truth, it means righteousness and justice in the broader sense of the word of Dharma, Dharma. And so I'm excited to have Carla come on and talk about that with us, and some offerings that are available to us, how we can experience how Dharma is related to justice, racial justice in particular, as we come into Black History Month of February. So, Carla, maybe you could come on now. Hi, Carla. Well, Lopön Karla.
Hi
Nice to
there,
see you.
Chandala, Lopala. It's
How are
really good
things
to see you.
going?
It's so good to be here.
How are you doing on the East Coast there?
On the East Coast, which has felt kind of like the West Coast, Northwest Coast, because we have had almost a whole week of rain and drizzle and gray. And yes, it got a little warmer, but it's like, can we have some sun, please?
Yeah.
But I'm good. I'm good. I'm thankful to be here, to be speaking to you from the ancestral land of the Lenape people here in New York City, and to really talk about this Tara one. Excited.
Yeah. Yeah, good. So Tara, the first Tara is so perfect for this day. You know, things fell into place in a very kind of serendipitous way. Like we didn't plan on some of these elements that we're sharing with you, but they all just fit, which is common with Tara, right? Whenever we're in her graces and we're talking about her or feeling her energy, certain things happen that we can't always explain. You know, little magic. They're called tendril. In Tibetan is the word tendril, not tendril like in our English, like octopus tendrils. People often mistake it for that. It's tendril, Tendrel, which means interdependence. So when magic happens, when little serendipitous things happen, auspicious things happen, Tibetans often will call that, tendril, and often lamas will say, let's follow the tendril. How do I go left or right? Do I make this decision or that decision? Go here or there? They say often, follow the tendril. What are the signs showing you? And so we're having auspicious tendril here, and it's such a nice time to be with you. I haven't seen you and been in space with you in quite a while. Carla and I go way back. We are old Dharma sisters from Tara Mandala. We've taught together, studied together, laughed and cried together in retreat, and we also co-chair the EDI Council, the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Council at Tara Mandala. We've been very committed to that work for probably a decade now, almost, right? We really started in earnest in 2015, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, that's as I recall it.
Yeah. So I've learned so much from you, Carla, and I'm very excited to tie in Tara One here with this idea of justice. And of course, racial justice is of utmost importance, especially in this time we're entering into in the Black History Month in the United States, but all around the world, but also any form of justice, right? Tara.
Yes. And I, as you're talking, I'm thinking, my relationship with Tara, there was a time when I thought Tara was sort of like a good girl, compassionate, peaceful, beautiful. And then I learned about her grit. I learned about, this association as savioress, her swiftness, and her ability to go anywhere, even into probably the hell realms, to rescue beings, right? And I was like, oh, well, really, she's extremely fierce. And not only committed to justice, but love, compassion, and justice, right? So, as you were talking before about Tendrel, I was thinking about, yes, equanimity, social justice, and also fairness, equitability, recognizing our human dignity and recognizing the dignity of other beings. So important, and so important in the work that I do in the world, whether it's my Buddhist teaching or my, ritual in Ifa or teaching at university. It really is connected to, encouraging that spark in people to keep doing better, to keep reaching higher, and sometimes to keep taking risks. Because, of course, when you identify, this energy in the world, how she manifests, that's like, oh, she manifests in people who take risks. She manifests in people who manifest their ideas, right, into an organization, and to relieve suffering, right? To relieve suffering. So, our work together in terms of EDI, which we call it Tara Mandala EDI, equity, diversity, and inclusion. I think a lot of that's because I like equity first.
Me too.
But other people call it DEI.
Right.
So, this
Also,
real
DEI sounds
commitment.
like die to me if you were to read it out loud. I remember I was like,
Me
can we just
too.
do EDI?
Me too. Me too. So yes, it's like, in our work together from way back in 2015, offering those workshops, those trainings, and moving out from that, as I know that it's made a difference for those who participated. It's made a difference for those who are in their circle, and it's made a difference for Tara Mandala. So I'm so happy to be here. Happy to connect with Tara.
Yeah, and tell us more about this course that's coming up in February, because I think it's right on point with all of this. And it is a way we can embody Tara's wisdom and compassion and that daring commitment, but it's also exciting and juicy and safe, and yet pushes us to, right? This work of equity work pushes us, especially white folks, maybe more than anyone else, to say, okay, what's going on with
Yeah.
me? And I thought I was all right in this field, but I have a lot to learn. Tell us about
Exactly.
the
Thank
course.
you. I had the good fortune to give the Martin Luther King annual Tara Mandala Dharma talk. And I really was talking about bodhicitta, from aspiration to action.
Nice.
So thinking about, well, what actions do we take? And coming out of developing and providing an 8-week training for Tara Mandala staff, board members, teachers, we are launching this public training, Transforming Racism, an Inner Journey to Wholeness through Cultural Literacy and Tantric Practice. So I've really designed something that offers information that is definitely rooted in dharmic practice, particularly tantric practice and the mandala. I firmly believe that the more culturally literate we are, the less opportunity we have for those kinds of cultural frictions or fallouts. And so having some idea about folks is really useful, and really healing ourselves. So the question I often ask, what comes up for me? What comes up for us when we either witness certain things or have experienced certain things? And at this point, how do we move beyond that? So we now have this 9-week course, 2.5 hours every week. Excuse me, that involves, again, some delivery of information and history, certainly lots of resources that people can explore, and interactive exercises that help folks to look at where there's some stickiness, or where there might be stuck, or where there might even be old wounds. And this course is not only designed for white folks. However, those are the people who might generate, really benefit from this kind of a class. But in terms of cultural literacy, many people of color are somewhat culturally illiterate about other people of color, right? We don't know people's immigration history. We don't know folks' values. So this course is really to help us, and then to actually use mandala practice, particularly to heal the places where we're stuck. And of course, when it comes to Tara, Tara's energy can come in at any time to move those kinds of obstacles, even to soften our edges. So I am very excited, and I really do hope that people share this with their friends and colleagues, and so people can participate in this really, I could say, groundbreaking, innovative way to approach the EDI work. So I'm excited. I want people to come and join. and participate.
It sounds so great. I took it with you and I loved it. I've done other trainings, and Carla, yours is my favorite. It really integrates so much of like the holding, like, okay, here we are together, no fault, no foul. Thank you for being here kind of space that you create, which as a white person, sometimes we can feel like, wow, I have so much shame, or speaking from my perspective. And it can be scary to come into those spaces, but you welcome everyone in wherever they are at with their process or arc of development or lack of development in a way that's so skillful. So you are embodying Tara. Skillful means too in that way. You are an embodiment of Tara. And and creating other embodiments of Taras as we go out, because as Taras in training, right, we need to wake up to our areas of blinders and grow our capacity to feel more empathy and compassion and equity, like you said, fairness, understanding. And that's so much a part of the Dharma path, is how can we see others equal as ourselves, right? That's Lojong, that's mind training. And to make another link is Atisha Dipamkara, one of the greatest Mahayana masters of India, who of the 11th century in India, he brought these Lojong or mind training Dharma teachings up into Tibet. He's more known for that. But guess what he also did? Because Tara was his Ishta Devata, was his tutelary deity, his main deity, his devotion to her was immense for various reasons. There are all these signs way back, even during the time of his birth, she appeared in the sky and all of this. She said to him, go to Tibet, you'll benefit many people. Your lifespan will be cut short, but go if you want to benefit beings. So he's like, that's my goal, is I am here to benefit beings. So he went. And he also brought with him texts, sadhanas, tantras devoted to Tara, white Tara and green Tara. And his devotion to Tara caught like wildfire in Tibet. And they attribute the Tibetans' devotion to Tara. She is one of the, if not the most popular deities in Tibet, along with Avalokiteshvara, of course, who's her like sibling. They're like, brother, sister. They're both Buddhas of compassion. She's the female, he's the male, Tara and Avalokiteshvara. So she is really popular, and that is attributed to Atisha, who taught. The whole reason I'm bringing up Atisha is because of his teachings on mind training, or Lojong. These well-known slogans, different texts, different versions, but the most well-known are the 7-point mind training of Chekawa Yeshe Dorje, who was one of the students in his lineage who codified the mind training slogans. But the practice of Lojong is all about working towards being able to consider others as equal as ourselves. And that has so many beautiful implications for justice work. And then the next step is the kind of more maverick step or advanced Lojong training, is to then consider others as more important than ourselves. But first we have to do the first build up to that, because we want to feel healthy and whole and have a good sense of self-worth and healthy ego identity before we start to do that work. But it's very profound. How could I feel like, when I invite Carla over for tea, I serve her first. I don't serve myself first. I open the door for somebody. These little acts of kindness are ways that we start to practice not just equity, but also considering others as more important than ourselves in various ways. So Tara is an important part of that, and embodying her is also about growing those capacities within ourselves. And this work with Carla, Transforming Racism, is a fabulous training ground to really do that. And then she brings these mandala dakini work into it too in such a cool way. So I highly recommend it. And Carla, I want to talk about the first Tara, and I want you to stay with me here, because I'd love to hear also about, what you might feel her as and through. Now, maybe Dreame, you can show her color image, but this is the first chapter is on first Tara Nyurma Pamo. Dreame, could you show our color picture of the statue at Tara Mandala? We have 21 life-size statues lining the inner sanctum of the Tara temple at Tara Mandala. They're about half to 3/4 life size. It's hard to tell that here. They're filled with sacred substances. They've been empowered. So even though they are a statue, they are living. They have energy. You can feel it. Look at her face. Like Carla said, she's not a peaceful one. She is actually a fierce one. Well, here's Saraswati in the foreground. And then you see her profile, the first one there with the red halo behind her is Tara Turavira, the first one. Yeah, there she is. So look at her face. She is what's known as semi-fierce, semi-peaceful. So she's got some of the peaceful elements of her, but she's also holding a very strong, fierce, or sometimes called wrathful energy. And you can tell she's bearing her fangs, these Dakini fangs, these canines. It shows you she's in that kind of mood. She's like, okay, I'm not taking any prisoners, but it's a loving fierceness. And she's known as the swift heroine, right? So in that way, she's swift like the wind. She comes to the aid of beings. She's red in color. She has atop her lotus, which is called the Utpala, is above her left shoulder, the blooming lotus flower. She has her symbol. Each of the 21 taras have a symbol. And this one is the conch shell, which is the first of the 8 auspicious symbols in Buddhism, by the way. And it's one of the earliest symbols in Buddhism. They say even that it might even be like the earliest thing that arose that could be called the logo of Buddha Dharma, which is so kind of silly in our modern capitalist society. But you see the conch shell, you think of the Dharma, right? And it symbolizes a self-blowing, because it's a self-blowing conch shell. It symbolizes the ever effulging healing sound of the Dharma. That's a nice picture there. So when you see the conch, it's standing upright, and they say it spins counterclockwise, and it's emitting this energy, this ooh. If you've ever heard the sound of the conch, it's this beautiful oceanic haunting sound of ooh. And so it also symbolizes calling to ceremony, calling to gathering for depth practice, for healing. And at Tara Mandala, we sound the conch shell before every meal. So for me, it also symbolizes mealtime. And I think we're not the only ones who do that. It's common in different monasteries. Yeah. So what is her mission? Okay, let me lay this out here, and then I'd love to hear what you think. She is her enlightened energy, her enlightened activity is to remove obstacles. In particular, removing obstacles to freedom. She also increases bodhicitta, this compassionate wish to awaken for the benefit of all beings. And she is swift like the wind, thus her name meaning Turavira. And the modern day Tara, so in each chapter, as I mentioned, I've found real life, historical, current, Buddhist, non-Buddhist women from all around the world who embody enlightened qualities. And I kept coming back to none other than our American icon, one of the most important women in the United States, Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman, who was she lived in 1822 to 1913. She, from my book, I say Tubman is an American icon of near mythic proportions because she was instrumental in leading hundreds of enslaved people out of Maryland to safety in Pennsylvania on the 100-mile Underground Railroad from 1850 to 1860. Swift and compassionate like Tara Turavira, Tubman guided others out of suffering, removing their obstacles to freedom. And she's fierce too. She carried a gun, right? A lot of us might not know. She carried a gun, not in a way to like hurt people, but for protection, like Tara. Tara is the protectress. And they say that she did not lose a single soul on the Underground Railroad for those 10 years. And sometimes she had to brandish the gun, not to enslavers who were chasing them, but actually more to fearful people who were escaping enslavement who wanted to bail. She's like, no, you're not leaving. We've got to go. And she didn't lose a single soul. So she also embodies that ferocity, that compassionate fierceness. That's an example of how Tara Vira's energy can be embodied in our world. And then we can see, how can we embody that? What do you think, Carla? Like, there are other, one example of it.
It's interesting because, sometimes we find an example with one Tara that also bleeds into another Tara, because Tara has many manifestations, right?
Yeah.
So clearly Harriet Tubman, and, I can't imagine having, well, on some level there was courage, but she was on a mission. She was driven to do this. It's like she could not stay home.
Right.
And she was married, and her husband tried to talk her out, and she's like, I have to go, right? And, some people may know that she suffered from what we might think of as a form of epilepsy. She had these fits where she would space out, but actually she would be in trance and be helped by ancestral energies, wisdom beings. So what we see here is a commitment to an ideal. And she's not going to let anybody bail, because they would be a great threat to her. I think about other people in the movement, Ida B. Wells, with her ability to write op-eds that she encouraged many Black people in Memphis to leave the city. Go someplace where, you can form a life where you won't be suffering like you are. And people left. They packed up their bags and went. All of those women who were involved in the civil rights movement, Annie Devine and Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Baker, that kind of the commitment, and they will not be turned around. I imagine we could see her fierceness in the artwork of Kara Walker. So art representation. There are many examples. And you were talking before about actions of kindness, right? And the importance of healing whatever ego wounds we have, so that then we actually can offer to others from a place of solidity, or a place of, it's not just self-sacrificial, right? So healing here, and knowing that healing here is going to reverberate out. The compassion. So asking people that you come in, I'm regularly asking cashiers, like, how's it going? How's your day? And we have a little conversation. And they're like, oh, well, I'll be off in about an hour. It's like, well, great. I hope you have a great time. I may be the only person who does that. Probably not, but, it's a little inflated. But, that kind of kindness, or holding the door, or giving somebody your seat on a crowded subway, and then building on those, right? Building on those actions. So I would encourage everyone here to identify in their neighborhoods, in their regions, who might be this kind of a Tara, who might be manifesting this energy. You may find yourself, or it might even be our own mothers. When you talk about her semi-fierce nature, like, I experienced my mother as loving and kind. And then I also experienced her as very, very fierce, particularly when she told me no. And I might try to push a little bit, and then she would give me the look. And it's like, let's back it up a little bit. So that kind of expression, right? Or even aunties who do that. Tara is everywhere. We just have to open our eyes.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, thank you for that. That feels so good. That feels like a great segue into our practice. Thank you so much, Carla, for bringing your wisdom and love and commitment to us today, and for everything that you do. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This is so much fun to be with you.
It's so much fun
and
to
I
be
hope
with
to
you
see you
too.
sooner rather than later.
I know.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So now, Amy, if you could, I want to teach people the mantra before we go into the meditation so you can see it and learn it. It's very simple. If you know the 10-syllable mantra, you might find this simple. If not, maybe not so much. Okay, so you see at the top, this is a beautiful tile that Dorje created based on our plaques at Tara Mandala, which we worked for years on, that we've made underneath each statue that says her name in Tibetan at the top, Drolma Nyurma Pamo Lanamo. Actually, this says, I pay homage to Drolma Nyurma Pamo. That's not translated explicitly there. But we say, well, yeah, we do. We say homage to Drolma Nyurma Pamo in Tibetan. And the Sanskrit is beneath Tara, Tura, Vira. Tara, Tura, Vira. So when you see a line over a vowel, it just means you take 2 beats instead of 1 with the sound. It's a longer sound. Tara, Tura, Vira. Swift heroine. And her mantra here is in the Tibetan also, and but all the mantras are originally in Sanskrit, never translated or changed out of the Sanskrit, at least for the most part. Sometimes accents will change sounds over time, but for the most part, it's always kept in Sanskrit because Sanskrit is a language given to us by the gods, they say. It's a holy language, not man-made. So in Tibetan script, we have it, and then in English script, we have it, but always in Sanskrit. It's Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Bodhicitta Svaha. So Om is the sound of the universe, is the sound of consciousness. Om. So there's even some astrophysicists, I believe, who won the Nobel Peace Prize many years ago for actually recording the sound of the cosmos. And it sounds very much like Om. You could Google that one. So Om opens almost all mantras. Tare is the vocative form of her name, Tara. So we're saying, O Tara. Tut Tare means like swift or come swiftly, Tara. I mean, be powerful, O Tara. Tut can mean be power, or it can also mean near. The verdict is still out, but her name is there again. Tare is O Tara. And then Ture is swift. And we could call her the swift one, like, oh, swift one. Oh, Tara, come near, oh, swift one, or be swift. Bodhicitta, this is the spirit of awakening. Bodhi is awakening, chitta is the mind, but it's the heart mind. It's that aspiration, that spirit to awaken for the benefit of all beings. Svaha, so be it, or may it be so. So her regular 10-syllable mantra of any Tara, it can simply be Om Tare, Tu Tare, Ture, and then Svaha. But each of the Tara mantras in the 21 Pantheon here that you'll find in my book and at Tara Mandala insert a word or 2 or 3 or more, a little bit sometimes, right before the Svaha that highlights that particular Tara's enlightened activity. Okay? So repeat after me. Om Tare, Tu Tare, Ture, Bodhicitta, Svaha. So we'll recite that in a moment as we become Tara. So let's take a moment now and allow the eyes to close. We'll take some deep relaxation breaths to soften into a meditative mode. You can breathe into any physical tension in the body, releasing tension with the out breath. And then take a few breaths breathing into any emotional tension. Feel where you might be holding emotional tension in your body. Breathe into it and then release with the out breath as much as possible, softening, landing more fully in this moment. And then with your next few breaths, breathe into any mental tension, any worries or concerns Feel where you may be holding mental tension in your body. Breathe into it and then release as much as possible with the out-breath, softening, creating more space in your body, in your mind, in your heart. Softening with the out-breath. And then Dreamy, would you show the statue again of Tara? Let's open our eyes here and just let the eyes gently gaze softly upon the image. If you can see her, of Tara Turavira, you can imagine her red, like the red behind her, red in color. It's like a deep red. She's a body of light, not of flesh and bone. Her face is compassionate yet fierce. Her eyes are flashing like lightning. Feel her loving gaze. She's very awake and present with you here. You can see she has 2 hands, 2 legs sitting on a moon disk on a lotus flower. And her right leg is stepping forward, meaning she's stepping forward to aid beings in samsara. And her left leg is tucked in, symbolizing her stabilization of the samadhi, the bliss of nirvana, the peace of nirvana within her. Her right hand is on her right knee, palm open in the spirit and the gesture of supreme generosity. Always generously offering compassion and protection to all beings. And her left hand is at her heart in this mudra of the 3 jewels. The thumb is gently touching the ring finger. And the stem of the lotus flower is held between those 2 fingers. The other 3 fingers are fanning out and upward, and they symbolize the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, the 3 jewels. And so we're going to sound her seed syllable, which is like the stem cell sound of Tara. It's Tam, T-A-M. And as we sound her seed syllable once, we are going to imagine that we transform into the body of light of Tara, the red, luminous body of Tara Turavira. And then we'll recite her mantra as Tara Turavira. And as you arise, as it's like your body transforms through the vibration of the sound of Tam, if you like, you can imagine that the sound, the seed syllable Tam, T-A-M, manifests in your heart chakra, a red seed syllable, if that's helpful. Otherwise, just feel yourself as her, filled with a fierce, compassionate power. Allowing the eyes to close, and we'll take a nice deep inhalation together, and then we'll sound Tam out loud, becoming Tara. You feel your body like a body of light, maybe connecting with the vibration, a subtle layer of your energy body, rather than the density of bone and flesh. And feel at your heart center this radiant syllable Tam, or simply an orb of red light is good too. Feel or even do your left hand in this mudra of the 3 jewels at your heart, holding the stem of the lotus flower that blooms above your left shoulder. And atop that lotus flower is the Utpala. The Utpala is the lotus, and atop the Utpala is the conch shell, the self-blowing sound of the Dharma, bringing healing and refuge and liberation to all beings everywhere. So feel like you can hear that sound in your left ear in particular. And then your right hand is palm up on your right hand, knee. Supreme Generosity Mudra. And feel that. Sometimes they even say that dharma wheels of radiant, turbulent light spin from that palm of your hand, bringing protection and liberation to all beings. Your right leg is stepping forward into the world, meaning you are available, swift like the wind, and like red Tara Turavira, working tirelessly for the benefit of beings through compassion and removing obstacles to their freedom. The left leg is tucked in, symbolizing your peace of nirvana that you hold within you, like your central channel, awake, activated. You hold those two truths within you, the peace of nirvana and the enlightened activity within samsara. And now we'll imagine that we send rainbow wisdom light from our heart center as we chant her mantra, Om Tare Tutare Ture Bodhicitta Svaha. And as we chant it together, imagine this rainbow light emanating from your heart, bringing liberation, freedom from suffering, increasing bodhicitta, removing obstacles. We are enacting Red Tara Turavira's enlightened activities through sound of the mantra and the visualization of the rainbow light. Feel it blanketing the entire world and space beyond this world, moving to specific people, groups, countries in need. Om Tare Tutare Ture Bodhicitta Svaha. 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 Continue to recite and really focus on the feeling of rainbow light swirling, emanating from your heart and going out to all beings in need without limitation. This feeling of the expansive heart of compassion growing and emanating from you. Don't worry about all the details. If you can only hold a little bit and mainly focus on the feeling, that is optimal. The feeling is what's most important here, of extending this heartfelt wish to relieve suffering, to embody Tara's energy in this way. Om Tare Tutare Ture Bodhicitta Svaha. Om Tare Tu Tare 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 Ture Bodhicitta Svaha. Now recite at your own pace, perhaps a little more swiftly if you can. And really feel it like the buzzing of the bees, meaning it's like a Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Bodhicitta Svaha. Om Tare Tu Tare. And they say just loud enough so that your collarbone can hear you. So not too loud. It's a muttering that vibrates within you, like the buzzing of the bees. And continue to feel this light emanating from your heart. You are a body of light. You are Tara. What does it feel like to let yourself be a Buddha for a day? Be a Buddha for a minute. Be a Buddha for a breath even. What is it like to embody her energy and to be her? Don't hold back here. Really take your seat as Tara. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Bodhicitta Svaha. 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 Om Tare Tu Tare Ture. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Bodhicitta. Om Tare Tu Tare. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Bodhicitta. Om Tare Tu Tare. Om Tare Tu Tare. Om Tare. Om Tare Tu Tare. Om Tare Tu Tare. Om Tare Tu Tare. Really feel that the sky is the limit in the imaginary space. Nothing is limited. Really see and feel that this rainbow light goes out and brings peace, brings liberation, brings freedom, brings nourishment, food, water, visas, whatever is needed to all beings so that they can be liberated from war, from enslavement, from prison, from limitations that hold them down. May all beings flourish, whether it's human, animal, insect, the elements, and beyond. Really feel in these last couple minutes here that everything is liberated, because that is the natural state. In fact, in that feeling, we also recognize that in some way that's beyond perhaps our comprehension, everything is already liberated. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture. Om Tare Tu Tare. May it be so. Om Tare Tu Tare. 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 Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Bodhicitta Svaha. And now imagine that the world and its inhabitants dissolve into a blissful, radiant light. Everything, it's like reabsorbs into the fabric of existence. It's blissful dissolution into light. And then feel that this light then dissolves into you as Tara Turavira. It's like a blissful infusion of light into your being. And then you as Tara Turavira begin to dissolve from the crown of your head and the soles of your feet, slowly, slowly dissolving towards the heart center, the heart chakra. Slowly dissolving, converging at the heart center into this orb of red light. And if you have the syllable there, then that orb of light dissolves into the seed syllable tam, which is the essence of Tara's enlightened mind. And then that tam dissolves from the base all the way up to the very top of the syllable. And that dissolves into radiant light. And rest in that experience. Luminous, radiant awareness. Simply rest in the state that remains after the dissolution. And then now we slowly feel like what it's like to then, in fact, re-emerge as Red Tara Turavira. It's as if her energy is integrated fully into our being. She is alive within us. We have embodied her. And we start to, if your eyes were closed, open your eyes and feel like you're looking at the world through Tara's eyes. What would that be like? And then the instruction is that throughout your day, move about feeling and remembering what it's like to embody Tara's energy. One way I do that is to recite her mantra. That's one way that I can remember. Either sing it or chant it quietly to yourself and let her energy live in you in some way. And let's close by dedicating the merit. I'll read the dedication prayer from the sadhana in the Tara chapter. They're all the same. This beautiful dedication prayer. It's so similar in so many different practices. It's a common practice of dedicating any positive energy we've cultivated through our practice for the benefit of all being, like a drop of water released into the vast ocean of merit. By offering this dedication, it becomes limitless like the ocean. If you wish, you can bring your hands together in prayer. And I offer this prayer. Through this virtue, may I quickly attain the state of noble Tara. May I bring each and every being, without exception, to that state. May all beings be healthy, free from suffering and its causes, and may they awaken to their true nature. Thank you, everyone. In some way, may we help to embody Tara's energy and relieve suffering in this world. It's so needed in this time and all time. So always needed, always ever needed, and loved and joyfully manifesting for the benefit of beings is Tara's energy. So thank you, everyone, for taking this journey with me, and for Carla for joining and offering her words of wisdom as well. Thank you, Lopön Karla. And I'd also like to bring your awareness to an opportunity to study more deeply with me on the topic of the 21 Taras. It's posted there. Dreamy posted it. It's an online course, so people from anywhere in the world can join. And you can join at any time. You can start at the beginning and stay the whole time. Or if you can't join in April, it begins, I believe, April 25th. If you can't start then, you could also watch some of the recordings and then start a little later. And it goes through December. So it's about a 6-month program. And we will dive deeply into each Tara for each class. And there's some little breaks in between there for different holidays in my schedule. But for the most part, it's pretty consistent. And you are all welcome. All welcome, everyone. No experience is required. You'll learn about Tara and you'll get to meditate. And also we do the journey with the Taras, which is adapted from Lama Tsultrim's beautiful work around the Dakini mandala and her development of this personal practice called Journey with the Dakinis. I asked her if I could adapt it for the Taras, and she said yes. So it's in the back of the book as a personal process journey work. It's really beautiful, really deep. People enjoy it so much, and we'll be doing that regularly. And also, we chant a lot. So one of my hobbies is to do kirtan, chanting, devotional recitation of chants and mantras with music sometimes, or a cappella. And I will be bringing that into the course as well, because not only does it uplift us and bring us joy to chant, and also in community to chant together, it also is a wonderful way to memorize the mantras, which can be hard to memorize sometimes. You may have noticed at the beginning of Lama Life, my dear friend and colleague Nina Rao, with whom I've collaborated to write melodies for the 21 Taras, along with our dear friend Genevieve Walker, she's singing that opening prayer. Om Tare Tu Re Mangalam Shri Mahapani Svaha. That is Nina's melody to the 12th Tara mantra of auspiciousness, Tara Mangalarta. So that will be woven into these courses that I teach on embodying Tara. And also we've created a nonprofit called the 21 Taras Collective, and that's through which we're recording these melodies devoted to the 21 Tara mantras in this Nyingma, the elders' tradition of the 21 Taras. And that will be coming out. Our first 7 we've recorded. We're just finishing up, and we have to master them, and we will offer them. They'll be available on Spotify and everything like that. So there are many informative posts there that Dreame's offered you for links. We have a website called the 21 Taras collective.org. Dreame, could you post that one? It's the number 21 tarascollective.org. That's our website. You can donate if you want to support us. You can also just get on our newsletter and find out when we release these songs, and they will be woven into future retreats and opportunities for practicing together in community. So, and also my website is chandraeaston.com, easy, just my name.com, and you can get on my newsletter there and see other courses devoted to this and other topics as well. So please stay in touch. And of course, we're always meeting through Tara Mandala, a beautiful retreat center. I'm offering an in-person retreat in July. I believe it starts July 19th on my book at Tara Mandala, the first ever at Tara Mandala. So I hope you could also, if you want, to come in person in July at Tara Mandala. Thank you, everyone, for all of your practice. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be free of suffering and its causes. May you experience the bliss of equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. And may you have the unbound joy of your true nature. May it be so. Wishing you well. Until the next time, take care.
A warm, warm thank you, Lopön Chandra, for your enlightening teachings on Tara 1 and all the wisdom shared today alongside Lopön Karla. Your guidance is always truly treasured, and we look forward to more opportunities for connection through these online and in-person programs with both of you. We're so blessed to have you as our teachers. Thank you. And to our cherished audience, thank you for being a part of this profound connection. May it be a source of support as you navigate your individual paths. This week, we've launched some incredible programs, including our very first month-long practice retreat on the land at Tara Mandala, set for this fall. So keep an eye on our website for regular updates. And of course, Transforming Racism program with Lopön Karla is such a unique opportunity that should not be overlooked if you seek to engage in a meaningful journey of transformation. It will be held virtually and begins on February 6th. We also invite you to join us as we extend a warm welcome to Dr. Larry Ward and Dr. Peggy Rowe Ward for a special Dharma talk and meditation on Saturday, February 24th, Rising Consciousness Along the Path We Walk Together. It's actually scheduled on one of the 4 Buddhist holidays in the year, Chotrulduchen, offering a meaningful way to honor and celebrate this auspicious occasion. So we look forward to sharing this enriching experience with all of you. Save the date and stay tuned for further details. Additionally, always explore the Wisdom Rising podcast, where Lama Tsultrim Allione shares her teachings. You can conveniently listen to it at your own pace through the Tara Mandala website, Tara Mandala network, or any podcast app of your preference. And finally, following the tradition going all the way back to the time of the Buddha 2600 years ago, you have the opportunity to make an offering of dana to Dorje Lopön Chandra and Lopön Karla. Dana is a Pali and Sanskrit word that means generosity. Dana directly recognizes the precious gift of the teacher and the teachings, without which one could not practice the Dharma. If you would like to offer dana to our teachers, please follow the links you will see in the chat in a moment. Thank you so much, everyone. May we meet again and again on the path, and may all beings benefit everywhere. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re. Mangalam Shri Mahapani Swaha. Om Tare Tu Re.